Welcome to Michelle's Opinions. Today we're going to talk about Ascension and spirituality, what they have in common and what the differences are, and of course the event. First thing I want to do is talk about Ascension a little bit. We often talk about NPCs, non-player characters, and things like that of that nature. We also see that there are people that just don't see the changes like we do. Like they get the updates or the downloads, as we call them. So they look around and see absolutely no changes going on around them. It's absolutely unchanged and completely normal for them. Well, a lot of times, even though they don't see these changes around them, they will also have body aches, headaches, and feel some of these physical symptoms that we also feel. So that's something that we need to take into account. And when we look at Ascension, Ascension is something that is not for a select few. It's going to be an everybody thing. And I wanted to bring this forward because this is something that has come into my awareness. It's been there for a while. And anytime we take any kind of a label towards any people grouping, we're, in a sense, dehumanizing them in one way, shape, or form. And if there's one thing we should learn from any history, is that when you dehumanize anybody or any people group and make them less than, then we're not treating them with their sovereignty, equality, and the respect that they deserve. We're always to treat everyone how we want to be treated. So, and I remember a time where I was in the somatic stage myself. I didn't know, my eyes were not opened to what was going on around me with what I know now. I mean, it's just a whole new understanding. We're going to get into that here in just a moment. But just because some of us made a different choice, it doesn't mean that anybody's going to be left behind, because we all are going to ascend together. There's not going to be people sucked off the planet. Now, there may be people making choices to leave on the exit route, which is the only exit route that we know of, which is through passing away. But as for the ascension, we see that when you look into hospitals and they have, slews of people just coming in with heart palpitations or similar symptoms, all of a sudden, all at the same time, no matter whether they're awake or in the somatic stage. So when it comes to ascension, that's an everybody. Everybody is included. We're all going through the ascension together. Now let's talk about spirituality. Even in the Bible, it says, "Many are called, but few are chosen." We are given a choice. And when we're given that choice, then a lot of times, we'll get, up to 3 things to do, or, a few little things that we may need to tweak or change within ourselves. Because one of the first things with spirituality is we need to get our house in order. Our house getting in order first, so therefore we can make a difference and help others who may make the choice later on to take the spirituality route. But whether they take the ascension route or the spirituality route, the destination is the same. Now, with the spirituality route, we need to ask ourselves, why are we making that choice? Is that choice to better just ourselves in our own lives? Or are we doing it to help out mankind as a whole? These are things that are very important. Also, the spirituality route is not an easy choice to make, and it needs to be weighed out before you make the decision to go that route, because a lot of work goes into it. A lot of changes, a lot of testing, a lot of things that we cleave to that we need to let go of. Like I've told you before, it felt like my world was turned upside down and inside out. These things happen as you are going through, purging yourself, getting your house in order. So that way we are prepared to help others who will make that choice afterwards, or who are going through the ascension and not understanding why they're having these physical symptoms, and they go to the doctor and they're finding nothing wrong with them. We have a better understanding. We kind of get to peek behind the veil a bit. We also get the blessings because it comes with gifts. We all have gifts, whether we're in the ascension or the spirituality. But in the spirituality, we become aware of the gifts that each of us have. And we can also see when things change. Now, whether we're sliding through different timelines by different choices and all those, I love looking into all of those theories. But when it boils down to it on this one, I just want to stick with ascension and spirituality and what the differences are and what made you make the choice that you made. Because when you make the choice on the spiritual journey, you can get stuck in areas with pride, ego, selfishness. All of those things have to be gotten rid of. You need to move past that. There's no competition in spirituality. There's only equality. We start out with feeling so blessed and so lucky. And then, whammo, the work starts. And a lot of it's pretty mind-bending and mind-blowing. And I'm not saying the journey's not worth it. Oh no, it's definitely worth it. But I'm not going to sit there and tell you that it's an easy journey, because it's not an easy journey. It's work. It takes time. It takes patience. We have to be patient with one another, and we need to be patient with ourselves, because there is so much to us that we haven't even scratched the surface. When we were walking around in the somatic way of being, we had no idea how beautifully and wonderfully and how much say-so we have here. And remember to test everything. I test everything. And with the test results, if they're consecutive, if I test something and and it works, I'll test it again and again and again and again. And if I get consistent results, well then, okay, I've just learned something, and therefore I can share it. But if it's not, consistent, well, then no, I don't share. We have dreams and visions. We learn to interpret them. Some of them are prophetic, and some of them are for introspection. A lot of introspection goes on with the spiritual journey. A lot of self-evaluation. Also along with helping out each other and seeing the equality in the divine in no matter what status or state anybody is in. There is no hierarchy in spirituality. There's just better understanding. You become your own guru. Now, it is okay to listen to other people, but always take everything into yourself and find out what resonates with you, what froths the truth up into your being, what warms your heart and expands it, what brings in the gnosis for you to remember who and what you are, and then figure out how are you going to be able to best serve other people to get them to be aware of who and what they are. Spirituality is not just a term, we throw that around so loosely, but really, you talk to anyone that's been going through this journey for a year, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years, they're going to tell you it's work. There's a lot that goes into this. You have to pretty much purge out any useless information. And even if you cleave to it and think that you studied it for 10 years and you got it down pat, to have something like that pulled away from you, to find that that was useless knowledge, is a very difficult part of this process. But it's a well worth it walk, that narrow path. But remember, at the same time, everybody's on their narrow path. The divine resides within each of us. And those of us who have made the choice to take the spiritual journey, and usually I've seen and I've heard from other people, I was asked, and it's not like somebody walked up to me and said, hey, you want to take the spiritual journey? It wasn't like that. It was in a meditative type state. And then I was asked to do 3 things. If I want to go on this journey, I was asked to do 3 things. Well, you'll find a pattern with that. And it's either 3 things to give up, 3 things to improve on, or 3 things to add to us. So mine was 3. Other people, it could be different. They could have had some kind of flashing lights. I've seen flashing lights. I didn't call them orbs, but I did see the flashing lights. So maybe it's like the Damascus route, the flashing lights all around Paul. I wouldn't dare compare myself to Paul, because that's just, and even Paul, knew that the equality, because if you read his letters, when he was saying, don't allow them to speak. If they're speaking hierarchy and things like that, then they're not talking equality, and then it's not rested inside of them yet. And there is a time to come out and talk about this, but when you're still seeing hierarchy or competition, well, then we're not quite ready. But when we're sharing our experiences and trying to get an understanding, now that is absolutely amazing, and that we should always talk about. Because one of the things about taking the spiritual route or the spiritual journey or making that choice is there's times that you could feel like you're just going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, because so much is being revealed so quickly. But remember, we're never given more than we can handle. We're never tested beyond anything that we cannot overcome. So if you've decided to take the spiritual route and take the spiritual journey, yes, that's fabulous. That's wonderful. But if you've not decided to, don't worry, because we're ascending together. Now let's talk a little bit about the event. As I just got done talking about how I test things over and over again, I have what I would call events all the time. As I have learned by looking at people, if I look at them and I suspect that they're going to steal from me, and I've already put that thought into my mind, then when they steal from me, why would I be disappointed when I am the one that just put that out and it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy? Part of the event for me is learning that by looking at people in their highest good with the divine within them, that I am never let down. If anything, I'm constantly pleasantly surprised. So the event happens for each and every one of us at different times and at different stages as the awareness, as we're on this spiritual journey, it comes into fruition. It's a profound understanding. Now, I'm not saying that people that are on the ascension path are not having events, because they are. And at any time on the ascension journey, they can make the choice to go into the spiritual journey. But part of what I'm trying to do here is to raise the awareness of the choice of going into a spiritual journey, that you have a complete understanding of what that entails. It's not all joy, bliss, happiness, and there's a lot of work that goes along with it. None of us are perfect, but we're not meant to be. And we're also sovereign, and we're individuals, and there's nothing wrong with that. People often mistake ego with individual sovereignty. No, ego is not a bad thing. Everything has its balance. So, how many times have you had your event experience? Every time a new awareness opens up into you, you've just had an event. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm really hoping for one big, huge event where we all go through it together. And I do think that we do have those too. But I don't think it's a one-time occurrence. I think it's a progression. And as we are moving along on this path, these events happen and we move through them and we become the highest versions of ourselves, or a higher version of ourselves, as we're moving along and learning more about who and what we are. What was your latest event? Share in the notes in the comments below. I'd like to know, because we're in this together. That was my latest event, was with the testings on my thoughts on people. How do I perceive them? And when they did exactly what I thought they would do, how can I be disappointed in them? How can I hold any judgment on them when I already prejudged them before any action was even taken? Something to ponder, something to think about. But that was a huge, profound understanding for me here lately. And I have to say, my Christmas with my family was so absolutely beautiful and wonderful. Everybody was happy. You always have that one little oopsie, but it was so short. It was not even 30 seconds long, and it was squashed and over with. Everybody was happy. There was so much love in the room. We broke bread together. We spent time with one another. We had 4 generations all sitting at the table together. Now that's an event. So, in conclusion, when we're looking at ascension, spirituality, and the event, we're all ascending together. Spirituality is a choice, and we all need to take that with, weighing out what the cost of it is and whether we're ready for that kind of a journey or that path. Self-awareness is, it's work. And a lot of times, as I said, it is very difficult to let go of things that we cleave to. But that once we do let go of it, you feel lighter and you feel better. And it's definitely worth it, but you need to weigh out the cost. The event, those happen daily, weekly, monthly. They can happen as often as more awareness comes into your being. As you discover more about yourself and all of those around you, that's an event. It's a huge awareness, a profound understanding of our very nature and our being. So with the spiritual journey, we have to have people make the choice to go through it in order for there to be an understanding, so we can direct and influence and also put our intentions in to keep balance, or to keep the scales from tipping too far from one side to the other. So, kudos to those of us who have, put their armor on and went through and are going through the spiritual journey. It is infinite. We are infinite beings. So just when you think you've got it, something new is going to pop up and you'll be pleasantly surprised. You'll also be very surprised with all of the gifts and abilities that are in everybody, whether they are ascending or on the spiritual journey. So, with all that said, I hope that this was informative and gave you guys a little bit of a look inside of my heart and in my mind and where I'm at on my narrow path. And if there's anything that I can do to enhance yours, for you to become the sovereign, beautiful, divine being walking out your narrow path, let me know. If there's things you want to talk about on this channel, let me know that too, because we are all in this together. I also wanted to let you guys know that we finished the one raffle, but we're beginning a new one. And it doesn't matter if you've won in the other raffle. This is a completely new one with new names going in, everything starting fresh. All of the awards have been given out, and it was just so much fun. And as we expand in our awareness and we pass money, which is currency, which is meant to flow, and when you stop concerning yourself with that, you'll find that you don't have many problems. It's just the understandings that we come to. The things that we worry about seem to be the things that test us the most. And as soon as we let go of that, everything seems to work out just fine. Try it for yourself. See what you get. See if you have an event in your awareness just by trying that one out. I sure did. It's pretty eye-opening. You guys are all such a blessing. And if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't even have this outlet to speak. And the support that you all show, I feel very blessed and I am very grateful. So you guys, remember, we're in this together. Whether you're on the ascension path, the spirituality path, we're all having events. We're all in this together. And remember to share what you know so we can listen and we can grow. I will be doing live streams soon too. Make sure you've got your notifications set. And I've already noticed that over 100 of you have come back. So, you know, that's just how it goes. I love you all so much. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday. I sure did. So, yeah. Be blessed in everything you do. And be the best version of yourself. Remember also, get your house in order and look around you, because what's going on inside of you will reflect around you. Test that one for yourself also. Have yourself a wonderful day. I will talk to you soon.